Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Stevie Nichols just stolen my questions. They're not supposed to see the questions before we start the show. They're supposed to be
I actually didn't get to see them all because I was trying to be clever. I was trying to do this and not make it look obvious.
That's preparation.
That is preparation. Shame Scotland didn't prepare today to face
Well, they
Ukraine,
did.
right?
No, they did prepare. That's about as good as it gets.
All right, Craig Burley, Stevie Nicholl and Gab Marcotti are with us. Let's get to your questions then. Craig, the first one is from your bleached blonde hair.
Yeah.
For everyone, how frustrating is it for a player such as Robertson, who play with far better players on their club team than their national squad? Does that demoralise a player when it comes to national games? Stevie?
No, it's just the biggest difference when you play with your club team and you play with your national team is when you play with your club team, you're playing 90 minutes running around, not thinking as much as you do with your national team because you're so used to playing with everybody, you play a certain way, and it becomes natural. And so when you go to your national team and you play a different formation, you play with different players, you're constantly having to think more. Which, I mean, the best way to describe it is the more you think about something, it takes away from your time on the ball. It takes longer. So that's really the difference. It's nothing to do about running around going, oh, these are rubbish and I play with better players. It's not that. It's a different, you have to think differently. You're thinking constantly, is the guy going to run in behind? Is the guy going to want it short? Is the guy ready for the switch? Whereas when you're playing with your own club, you know all these things before, you don't even think about it. You just do it.
I mean, I don't think Robertson and Tierney's not around, but Robertson in particular, Champions League, Premier League winner, he doesn't run up and down the field going, oh God, he's hopeless. It's part and parcel, it is what it is. You ask some of the Scottish teams in the last 10, 15 years when it's been a poor time. You ask some of the Welsh players, if we're talking about the UK, some of the great Welsh players, you ask George Best about Northern Ireland, you know, it is what it is. I think the frustration for those guys in those countries is the fact that he went to a World Cup in Mexico for a tan, I went to one in France. You kind of want to sample that, you know, through your career. And if you can't do it, it's frustrating. But you don't look at your teammates and just think they're all sort of guff. It's just part of the deal, isn't it?
Well, you're not the only national side that it was a bad day for. Italy didn't have the best of days against Argentina either, Gab. Gab, next question. Should Italy consider getting rid of Mancini, as recent results have not been great since winning the Euros? # not biased.
No, I mean, if they were going to get rid of him, they would have considered it after being eliminated in the playoff by Macedonia. I think they genuinely feel that they're going in the right direction in terms of the vibe around the team, in terms of the way he gets on with the players, in the terms of the way he's trying to bring younger players through. Obviously, if the players aren't there, or if Jorginho misses penalties, or if you have players who just frankly aren't that good for a national team, and don't want to pick on them, but Belotti and Bernardeschi are two spring to mind immediately, you're not going to be as good. But you know, the nice thing about national teams, if you go back and look at international competitions, there's a ton of up and down. For most teams, you know, these things come in cycles, and you know, you can change. You could put Pep Guardiola in charge of the Italian national team. If he still doesn't have good players or doesn't have the kind of players that fit his system, you're going to have a problem. So I think you have to look beyond results and look at performances as well, and look at the general direction in which you're going, and look at the way you're trying to play. And I think that's what they considered. And I'm obviously not saying this about the game against Argentina because Argentina wiped the floor with Italy. I'm talking about previous games where it really was very thin margins and things went against them.
Next question.
Get Mancini out and get Venturi back. Maybe that was
really
good.
I don't think they got that.
That was very entertaining.
Yeah.
mean
Well, not for the Italians, it wasn't.
Yeah, I know.
All right. For Craig, rank these in the order of how much you care about them.
Oh, it's a draw.
Hold on.
It's a draw. They're all
Hold on.
0.
I'm going to give you the Don Hutchinson
Draw.
percentages here.
All right.
They're all equal. 60, 30-10.
In this order. La
Equal.
La Finalissima. UEFA Nations League and the Club World Cup. Which would you rather watch?
Well, not the... What's the first one again?
La Finalissima, which we saw today between Italy and Argentina.
No interest.
No, not seeing Lionel
Across the
Messi
board,
in action?
no interest.
No interest.
Okay.
Across the board, done.
So last.
I mean, no interest, last.
All right.
No, actually, no, last. Club World Cup.
One game.
Yeah, Club World Cup, last.
Club World Cup last.
Yep.
So UEFA Nations League first?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Nations League to watch.
Oh no, I'm only saying what you no.
How much do you care about them?
Well,
He doesn't.
Exactly, so he still has to put them
the
in.
Nations League
Because you don't care. There's not levels of not
no.
caring.
The Nations
you don't
League,
care. That's it.
The Nations League is winning by a nose.
Okay.
My nose, so
you
it's a
care
big
about
league.
it.
It's a big league because it's my nose. All right, I'll get that in before he says so.
It's all right. Well, I'm with you.
So just ahead of them, the other two, honestly, couldn't give a stuff.
All right.
Couldn't give a stuff. At least the Nations League has improved the scheduling to what was friendlies. It is given a little bit, and it has an end game, whether you agree with the format or not, it has an end game for some of the countries, i.e. a pathway or a parachute into the Euros. It has something tangible that might be at the end for smaller countries in particular. It's got something.
The other two are just to make dough, right?
The other two are just to get me out of here.
Yeah, he had to get the Club World Cup last, didn't he? All right.
Well, yeah.
Rightly so.
Gab.
The one that lots of people got upset with me.
Well, who won it last?
Well, Chelsea won it. I mean, apparently
Should have been so happy for them, Craig, your former club.
I mean, it was huge.
All right, we're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on. Come on.
Gab, what do you think of Ivan Perisic signing for Spurs?
So I think Inter did they made the right decision in letting him go. They said, this is the number we think you're worth, and if you want more, go somewhere else. That said, Conte knows Perisic inside out, although of course it was Conte who wanted to get rid of him when he was at Inter, so that's a bit of a curious one. But the last 3-4 months of the season, he's been absolutely devastating. He's 33, he's fit as a fiddle. It's only a 2-year deal. He can play wing back the way he did at Inter, but he can also play, as one of the two behind Harry Kane. I think it's a very good signing. I think Conte knows exactly what he's walking into with Perisic. So I think it's a coup because it's a 2-year deal.
Okay. For all, was Liverpool's 2005 Champions League win over a superior Milan lucky and a fluke as well? They scored 3 goals in 7 minutes to make it 3-3, but no one seems to have a problem with that. Well, Stevie, I think you should start.
Is that one still hankering?
Seriously, get over
That's
it.
17 years ago.
Do you think my husband sent that one in?
Holy smokes. You still... Let's go back to 1975.
Yeah. I mean, you can come up with a lot of things and say it was lucky and blah, 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 but the truth is, on the football field, sometimes players miss and sometimes goalkeepers make saves.
If it were
And sometimes teams fall asleep for 10 minutes. And sometimes the game switches to the opposition and they're in control for spells. All of these things happen in football. Just sometimes they show themselves sometimes in incredible ways, and this is one of them.
If it were a boxing match, who would have won?
Oh, AC Milan would have won by a straight. They would have stopped. They wouldn't have lasted 90 minutes. It would have been stopped.
He likes that analogy.
Well, it is, because it's a great analogy.
What if Liverpool and Real Madrid was a boxing match?
Oh, it would never have lasted 90 minutes either.
What do you reckon, Gab? Was it a fluke and lucky that Liverpool did what they did in that famous final?
Yeah, I was there, and it was just, I couldn't believe what I was witnessing, what I was seeing. I don't know what fluke means. I really don't, because this is football, and this is fine margins. I'm with Lionel Messi. The best team doesn't always win, which is different than saying that you don't deserve to win. I think Real Madrid deserved 1,000,000% to win the Champions League this year, the same way Liverpool deserved to win the championship in the Champions League in 2005. Were they the best team that season? Were they the best team in that game? No, I don't think so. And arguably they could make a similar point for Real Madrid, although I thought that final was a lot less one-sided than Istanbul was. It's just the nature of the sport, and in 90 minutes, so many different things can happen.
Okay, there we go. Gab, it's an NBA question here, kind of. Gab, in the NBA, all player salaries are known and public. If this was the case in football, what would it change? And then it goes on. Stevie, could this transparency cause discord in dressing rooms? So Gab, I'll start with you.
I think what it would change is we'd, if all transfer fees and wages were public, I think we'd have more. I think it's something I've advocated for a long time. I think we'd have a lot more transparency. It would be easier to hold clubs and specific club officials to account. It would be easier to hold specific agents to account. What we have now in some ways is the worst of both worlds, right? Because they're not all public, and yet at the same time, clubs and sometimes agents continually leak the amount of money that players make. And sometimes it's accurate and sometimes it's not accurate, because, you know, if I'm covering Craig Burley and I say, oh, look, Craig Burley, who makes 250 grand a week, when in fact he doesn't, and he plays at an average level, I might be like, oh, Burley's not playing to his salary, Burley's lazy, blah, blah, blah. You can substitute Pogba for Burley if you like. If in fact Burley's making 50 grand a week, I might say, well, look, he's trying hard, you know. So I think actually we'd be much better off, all of us. But of course, if that happened, I think certain managers and directors of football would face far, far more scrutiny if the numbers were all out there and official, like in the NBA.
Is it better not to know, Stevie, because could it cause some problems in the dressing room? You hear stories like that in MLS.
It could. I'm sitting here thinking, would it have caused more problems years ago than it is today? And the reason I'm thinking that way is because, you know, if somebody's getting 200 grand a week and you're getting 100 grand a week, are you really going to be that angry about it? Considering you're still making many million a year? Whereas before, everybody was kind of on the same to keep harmony. And so you've got one guy on so much more than pretty much everybody else, there's more chance of that, I would think, of causing a problem. But
I'm intrigued it causes problems in Major League Soccer. Have you heard about that?
I've heard that before.
Have you?
I've heard that there's been some upset in the dressing room.
What?
No one says anything, but it's...
What, regarding the, what do you call them, those players that come in?
The designated
The
players.
designated players?
Yeah.
Well, there's an easy answer.
All right. Well, can you confirm that? Are you on 250,000 a week?
At the moment? No, I'm just a smidge behind that here at the moment. I'm hoping to have a word with my boss in the next couple of weeks.
All right, yeah, well, Gab's just put it out there. Sounds like he's your agent. He's put the figure out there now.
It's dollars, $250,000.
Yeah, he's put the agent out there. For the agent, he's put the fee out there. All right, that's it. Thanks so much for sending in your tweets. We are here again tomorrow.
Plus
to
win
do it
bonus,
all over again.
it must be added.
Aye.
An appearance fee.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.